Hi, folks. Welcome to a new week, Monday's Coffee with Jesus. And we continue to look at the woman at the well and the interaction that Jesus has with her. And we're at verse 24, John 4:24. Such an important verse. God is spirit, and his worshippers must worship in the spirit and in truth, or worship in spirit and in truth. But I think it is right to say in the spirit. I don't know how your worship was yesterday. There have been times in public worship when gathered with the Lord's people, I've been so conscious of the Lord's presence that it did feel like heaven. Now, those are rare times, but they are wonderful times. It's interesting because there are some, and Christians disagree about this, but a couple of you have contacted me to say you just don't like the phrase public worship, that all that we do is worship, that the New Testament never describes worship. In that way, I don't agree. I think being in the Spirit on the Lord's Day, I think describing what happens, for example, with the Corinthians, I think the commands to sing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs to one another, and so on, they're all tied in with that sense of worship. But the idea here is that God is spirit. God is invisible. He's divine as opposed to human. He's life, giving life to human beings. God is light. God is love. God is spirit. And I think that this is this wonderful way of seeing how we truly come to worship God, just having that sense of the presence of God. Remember one time in St. Peter's, a Pentecostal friend of mine came up to me afterwards and said, "David, I have no idea how anyone could be in that service and not have met with God." Well, would it be that were the case? This event occurs when just before Jesus would go at the Feast of Tabernacles, the great feast in the city of Jerusalem. Now, there's a daily ceremony there where the people gathered together, and then they marched on down to the pool of Siloam. When they all got there with their palm branches and citrus fruit and music, a white-clad priest would arrive carrying a golden pitcher. He would dip the pitcher into the pool of Siloam and then carry it back to the temple as the people continued singing and chanting psalms. When they got to the gates of the temple, there'd be 3 loud blasts from silver trumpets, and the priests would enter the temple to pour the water on the altar. To many Jews, this was considered to be the high point of a dedicated Jew's life. But what we're being told here is this is just a shadow. The temple in Samaria, the temple in Jerusalem, Jesus shows the reality. And that's why we need him. Jeremiah 2:13, "My people have committed 2 sins. They have forsaken me, the spring of living water, and have dug their own cistern, broken cisterns that cannot hold water." I got a lovely letter from somebody in a church just saying, expressing appreciation and so on, but saying how in their church it's become so formulaic. The churches have turned into really political sermons, and they've turned away from Christ. And I think that's a huge issue. It's a huge problem. And we absolutely need to have the Holy Spirit to worship God in spirit and to worship in the truth of Jesus and to just plead with and long for his presence. So God bless you. We will see you tomorrow. Bye.